back with Derek Rucker's top 15, 5-1. We've gone through 15-6, and now we are very much at the pointy end of things in NBL 25. Great to have you with us. Joel Peterson here alongside the NBL MVP, Derek Rucker. Ruck, it's been fun so far. Now we get to the really good bit.
It has been, and the list has come out pretty well, I think. The feedback has been spicy, but I expect that, and really looking forward to presenting the top 5 because I think it's really exciting.
It always is spicy, let's be honest. The list is spicy, the feedback is spicy. There is a lot of spice being thrown around in this particular kitchen, and that is only a good thing. So the list so far, what we have got, Keanu Pinder was at 15. Sam Froling was at 14. James Bateman, a new entry into the list at 13, coming off a wonderful performance last time out for the Brisbane Bullets. Kendrick Davis, another new entry at number 12 from the Adelaide 36ers. Then you've got Jalen Adams and Will Magnay. They were 11 and 10 in the previous list pre-season. They were 8 and 7, so they're still very much in lockstep, those two. Tyler Harvey at 9, Matt Hurt at 8, Trey Kell at 7, all new entries, and Chris Goulding, the sharpshooter from Melbourne United, coming in at number 6. He was in the top 5 last time out. So this leaves us with 5-1. What are you looking for in your top 5 players in the competition when you're assessing this list at the start of the year?
You have to be very efficient as a basketball player. Scoring the basketball, you've got to be good, impact your team in a positive way. Hopefully your defensive rating is very good because we know in the NBL, if a team defends exceptionally well, they have a very good chance of winning the championship. So you can't be a weak link defensively for your team. And then again, your demeanor, how you carry yourself, leadership, all of those other attributes, those intangibles, they weigh big when I'm putting this top 5 list together.
So this is the best of the very best. Ready to go?
I am.
All right. Do you want to kick us off with number 5?
Number 5 is Melbourne United forward Jack White. Jack White has come back from the NBA and the G League stint, and he's having an outstanding season. Granted, he sustained a calf injury that slowed him down somewhat, but he's averaging 14 points, 10 rebounds. He's shooting it at 39% from the three-point line, proving to be one of the best inside-out threats in the competition. And, of course, defensively, playing for Melbourne United, the league leader in defense. He is outstanding on that end also. He protects the rim. He can push the ball in transition. He's a 19.2 on low usage, and he's the first of our MVP candidates. He is a true superstar in the NBL, Jack White.
It's great to watch him go about it. Is he, in your mind, Melbourne United's most important player, given his standing in this list?
Yes, he is, and I think the depth, though, that Melbourne United has, it's really hard to single out one player, but on any given night, he can be their best player and their most important player.
It's a lot of depth that Dean Vickerman's got, a lot that Jack White brings to the table, and our league is very much better for having him back. He was in the pre-season list too at number 12, so his form's got him rocketing up the charts. Number 4.
Number 4 is Perth Wildcats superstar Bryce Cotton. And people are going to say, oh, Derek, but he was hurt, he missed games, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. Well, guess what? He's got all-time great status. You've got to knock out the champ if you want to take the title. And right now, Bryce is holding strong despite the rib injury. And full credit to him for coming back probably earlier than anyone had anticipated and being productive. And that's another thing about Bryce Cotton. I've said it before. He is the most intelligent player in the league. He figures out problems and how to solve them quicker than anyone else in the competition. And now he's proven that he heals quicker than anyone in the competition. Okay, so let's look at the metrics. 20 points a game, 42% from the three-point line, and he's got a 57% true shooting percentage. And Joel, he's still an MVP candidate. Don't trip. That guy can win the MVP. There's enough basketball left in the season. He had a bad game up in Brisbane for the final game before the FIBA break. That didn't matter. He just needed the run. Now he's got time, and he can make his run and lead the Perth Wildcats right back where the Red Army want to see them, into the top 4.
He had 30 in his first game back. He had 37 in Cairns earlier in the year. He's put together a couple of massive performances already. When he's up and going, we hope we see him back there a little bit more. And, of course, his stats probably take a hit because he had one game where he basically played 2.5 minutes against New Zealand. So the numbers may not line up with Bryce Cotton, but number 4. Are you planning any holidays to Perth anytime soon, just out of interest?
No, I know that's not going to sit well with Bryce at number 4, but what I can say to the rest of the league is don't doubt this guy. Think he's over at your peril. Bryce Cotton, again, last year there were thoughts about him slowing down, and then I know there's going to be words after he had the great game and then he didn't do anything in Brisbane. Bryce Cotton is going to be fine.
So Bryce Cotton at number 4. We've got Jack White at number 5. We get to the top 3. They're really, really elite, the upper echelon of NBL players. Who's in at 3?
Number 3 is Montrezl Harrell, a guy who's had one of the biggest impacts on the NBL in decades. And that's tough to say because we've had so many fantastic players come from various parts of the world. But I don't think we've ever had a guy that's come over and been able to do what he's done in just 9 rounds. He's averaging 20 a game, 9 rebounds, 56% from the field. He's got a 5 net rating, 24 PER. He's outstanding. He is an MVP candidate also, and we saw a little bit of crazy stuff happen that I found kind of exciting also, because this is who Montrez is. He is a high energy, fast twitch, aggressive, athletic, entertainment machine. That's what he is. And our league is better for having him. And I think the Adelaide 36ers pulled one of the great acquisitions of the past 15 to 20 years in getting him here. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of interest from global basketball teams trying to get him after our season ends. But I would love to see Montrezl Harrell back in this league next year. We've got to do everything possible to get him back.
It might have been an opportunistic one, but now reflecting on it, it looks like a massively shrewd bit of business from that Adelaide 36ers organisation to seize the opportunity to bring this guy in, because he is box office. When you talk about the top 5 players in the league, they are drawing fans through the gates. And when I talk NBL to people I know at the moment, a lot of them ask, what about Montrez? Because they know that even the casual fan is drawn to this man.
And he's got a look, right? He's just so defined and so unique. And I think kids really draw to him as well. There's something really lovable about him, the way he presents himself. And he's this oversized caricature that I think really appeals to the youth. So great job, Adelaide. And here's hoping that you can make it last.
Absolutely. So that's the bottom step on the podium. The silver medal goes to
Xavier Cooks is number 2 on my top 15 list. He's had a really good season for the Sydney Kings, despite the Kings not quite reaching the standard that we had set for them. They go into the FIBA break 7-6. We know that. Xavier Cooks is averaging 17 points and 9 rebounds. He's shooting the ball at 60% from the field, 26 per. He leads the league in player efficiency rating. He, again, is an MVP candidate, and I think if the Sydney Kings can get more players up to their respective levels and Xavier Cooks continues to do what he's been doing, the Kings will finish in the top 3.
We haven't had like the really big Xavier Cooks game. We haven't had the crazy triple-double. He hasn't had the sort of the big 40-point game yet, but his impact on the way that they play is profound. His ability to do a little bit of everything for that Sydney Kings team. Do you feel like there's some upside for him in this second half of the year?
There certainly is. And I think as they also figure out what to do with their front line, he hasn't found a reliable running mate yet. Cam Oliver's raw numbers look good, but his minutes have been erratic from game to game. So Zave's kind of looking through his team and trying to figure out, well, who's the guy? Is it LePepe? He needs someone to go with him, and I think Cam Oliver is more than capable of being that person. But for Zave to really shine and lead that team to championship levels, he needs more of his teammates, and those guys who have been brought in to be stars also, they've got to fulfill their requirement.
So Jack White, number 5, Bryce Cotton, number 4, Montrezl Harrell new on this list at number 3. Xavier Cooks, who was number 1 in the preseason, comes in at number 2, which leads us all to who is the top 15, and that man is...
Number 1 is Parker Jackson Cartwright from the New Zealand Breakers, and PJC has been outstanding since this first list was released during last season's play-in round, and he's done a tremendous job. This is a guy who took a real affront to being ranked number 7 in the first list I ever did. We know by now what happened, what transpired. He approached me, we had a conversation, and he's been motivated. And now he can legitimately be put atop this list. He's averaging 19 a game, 7.4 assists, 2 steals, a player efficiency rating of 24.6, and a net rating of 13.3. Again, all top 5 players are MVP candidates. He is the lead MVP candidate. He's led the New Zealand Breakers to exceed expectations early in the season. His play has been absolutely sublime, Joel, and the Breakers have a real superstar. I don't know anyone around the country that dislikes watching Parker Jackson Cartwright play the game of basketball.
Yeah, I think if you don't like Parker Jackson Cartwright, then you don't like NBL basketball, as the saying goes. His leadership, his effect on this Breakers team. There were plenty of people who were pretty happy to write them off at the start of the season with so much change during the off-season. He was committed to coming back to that New Zealand squad. And I think we saw from him last year the talent, and we recognised the talent at the time. I'm not sure we recognised the leadership. I think we're seeing that now in what he's doing with that squad.
And especially when they've had to accumulate new pieces. And they've had injuries also. Mojave King's been out. Mitch McCarron's been out. Max Darling's been out. So they have had their own adversity to deal with, but yet behind Parker's leadership, they've been able to go get road wins at Sydney, at Melbourne, at Cairns, and they won 7 games, Joel. I don't think anyone thought that they might win 7 games throughout the course of the season, and they're primely positioned now with a lot of games to go in Auckland to finish in the top 4. And the last place you want to go for an elimination play-in game or a game 3, you do not want to go to Spark Arena trying to get that victory.
Now, you don't want to go and face PJC, that is for sure. So that is our top 15 in NBL 25, thanks to this man, Derek Rucker. So from 15 working your way up, Keanu Pinder at 15, Sam Froling comes in at 14, James Bateman and Kendrick Davis, both new additions to the list at 13 and 12. Then you've got Jalen Adams, of course an MVP of a couple of years ago. Will Magnay comes in at 10. 3 new faces in Tyler Harvey, Matt Hurt, and then Trey Cal in at 7. Chris Golding rounded out our 15 to 6 segment. The top 5 of Jack White, Bryce Cotton, Montrez Harrell, Xavier Cooks, and number 1 is PJC. You happy with how it shook out?
I'm very happy, and I mean, this is in the moment and it's raw, and right now, emotionally, I feel like that's a good list, and I'm feeling pretty proud. I also feel mentally exhausted. So thanks for your help, Joel, and everyone out there. I hope you enjoy it. Again, share your list with me. You can DM me, whatever you want to do. I love to see it all, and I love to hear your perspectives.
Yeah, and it's absolutely genuine. He does absolutely love to get that feedback, and I think there's going to be some really interesting lists floating around with players that have been in contention and with injuries and that kind of thing. And of course, we'll do it all again toward the end of the season, and that will be. That could be another landscape altogether. Ruck, hey, thanks for your time. Thanks for your efforts putting it together. I think it's a great thing that you do for the league, and really thrilled to be a small part of it.
Great to have you as a part of it, JP, and I will see you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks to Derek Rucker. Thanks to you for watching as well. That is the top 15. Parker Jackson Cartwright is atop the list. Jump on the NBL app. Share it on NBL socials. We'd love to hear your thoughts, and we'll see you next time on Derek Rucker's Top 15.